Hello, welcome to an all-new Marvelcast, Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Al Dan and Clumsy Fowler. My name is Ashley Hobley, your Marvelous podcast host, and joining me today, the astonishing Dylan Blight.
Yes, happy to be here and talk about blipping. Blipping real good.
Do they blip?
I mean, they blip in and out, right? Surely.
I don't think you can use that term to describe what they're doing in this.
I'm ready to do some interchanging across time and space. Doesn't sound as cool.
No, I guess not. But, you know, they've already used that term, so.
True.
So today we're talking about The Marvels, the latest film in the MCU. We're going to go full spoilers, so please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about the plot, themes, and ending of the movie. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. It's playing everywhere. Probably, still. With that said, let's jump to our discussion of The Marvels.
Carol Danvers, prodigal child of the Milky Way.
Nick Fury, my favorite one-eyed man of intrigue.
How goes it out there?
Cold, no air, space.
Captain Marvel, the Annihilator. You took everything from me. And now I'm returning the favor.
What is happening to me? She's entangled our light-based powers. So we switch places whenever we use them.
Strong theory.
You can absorb light. I can see it. And Kamala...
Who's Kamala?
Hi. She can turn light into physical matter.
Directed by Nia DaCosta, written by Nia DaCosta, McDonnell, Elissa, Karasik, starring Brie Larson, Teyonah, Parris, Iman, Vellani, Zawe, Ashton, Gary Lewis, Park Seo-joon, Zenobia, Shroff, Mohan, Kapur, Saagar, Shaikh, and Samuel L. Jackson. Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taken revenge on the Supreme Intelligence. But unintended consequences see Carol shouldering the burden of a destabilized universe. When her duties send her to a wormhole linked to a Kree revolutionary, her powers become entangled with that of Jersey City superfan Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel, and Carol's estranged niece, now Saber astronaut Captain Monica Rambeau. Together, this unlikely trio must team up and learn to work in concert to save the universe as the Marvels. So by the time this goes up, I should have my review up on explosionnote.com, and at time of recording, I'm looking at giving it a 6.5. So I've written, The Marvels is proof that charm and charisma will take you far, with this team of three women proving a joy to tag along with through a middling, disjointed adventure. While this is unlikely to be anyone's favorite Marvel film, every character comes out looking better and with more potential stories going forward, which should help to instill some faith into the future of the MCU, which it desperately needs. So I think the cast is all fantastic. All the chemists, they have fantastic chemistry across the board, but the story, not good. The villain, not good. Dylan, what are your thoughts on the Marvels?
So I enjoyed it. I think it's a fun time. I think the biggest, I want to say, it's not really a problem with the movie, but I definitely feel like if this movie wasn't coming out, I mean, this movie's already going to have a million problems for it anyway. Like, it's a sequel to Captain Marvel, which already had a hate campaign.
Yeah,
we've talked about it a million times. Brie Larson, like, misogyny campaign. It's got two women of color in it. It's a movie starring a bunch of women. The bad guys were like, it's already sort of going up against the wall. The problem is also then it's coming out after that Variety article and whatever else. And I've already seen a lot of reactions to the movie generally being, it's all right, but it's not the movie to save the MCU. And I'm sort of like, how's that this movie's fault? Like, this movie, why is it these actors, why is it Nia DaCosta's fault that, like, they have
the
to be
MCU,
the one
everything around them is shit.
Yeah, because I think this is a fine movie. I think this is a perfectly okay Marvel movie. And in fact, I would happily take more like this, which is like I'd actually, if you're giving it a 6.5, I think I'd actually be like a 7. Probably, maybe,
Yeah.
like sort of.
I mean,
like
those are the two numbers I've been tossing up all day. So.
I think I'd at least be at a 7 for a minimum. I could push it to a 7.5 if I wanted to be like really nice or something. But like, I think I loved the chemistry between all of the cast. Seeing like this movie is a joy to watch when it's just them having fun together, the three of them.
Yep.
And then any moment it goes back to, oh yeah, we've got a bad guy. And it's not like she's fine. I can't remember the actor's name, but she's fine. It's just on paper that person.
She's a one-note character.
Yeah, she's not given much to deal with, and well, she is, but like they don't do anything with it because ultimately, like,
so she's got super interesting motivations and goals, where she's wanting to collect resources from other planets, and by doing that, she's creating holes in the universe to suck those resources back up to save Kree or whatever. Because Captain Marvel destroyed the Supreme Intelligence after the first movie and doomed that planet. I don't know how defeating the Supreme Intelligence suddenly turned the sun off, but you know,
no idea. But like a lot of these things in the movie, it's just like it's like that's how that works.
Hey, this is the explanation as to why Captain Marvel hasn't come home in the last 30 years.
Yeah,
it's kind but she's, you know, every time she has a choice, she chooses violence. I mean, even the last moment with the villain in the conclusion, where, you know, like, I'll restart your son. You know, she takes off the thing that's stabbing her, and then she like decides to attack Captain Marvel. It's like, that's a very phase 1 villain.
Yeah, because her motivation and like why she's doing what she does, I'm like, this actually has a lot of potential for a good villain. Because most of the best Marvel villains have been ones that aren't just, I'm a bad guy and I'm out to destroy. Like, you know, she's like, hey, I view Captain Marvel as a bad guy, and I'm like, I get it. Like, in your eyes, she destroyed your planet, you know, sucked away all your resources. I get it. But yeah, like, just she was giving nothing to make that work. So whenever that's happening in the movie, so that's the worst part of the movie, is the villain and just like the actual anything to do with that part of the movie is just like, well, whatever. The three characters getting to know each other though, utter joy. Those three actresses, fantastic. Everything I would have wanted out of this Kamala Khan wise. What a joy. Like, I had so much fun watching her on screen. I can't wait to see more. But yeah, I definitely feel like, and then the thing is, I also don't like, if this movie's a 7, like, in my eyes, I'm like, okay, why is that a bad thing? You know, why does every Marvel movie, the only reason that this Marvel movie is going to get put on a high pedestal is because it's apparently the one that had to save the MCU. But I'm like, what about all the other shit movies we've had?
To be fair, we were just coming off in Guardians of the Galaxy. It was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the best movie we've had in quite some time. But honestly, I would have to bring up I'd have to bring up the list of movies here to say, like, what have I actually enjoyed? That's fucking, like, because I fear when I left the cinema with this, I was like, I feel like this is one of the best movies I've actually put out in a while, which kind of says something about the level of quality. So, all right. So the Marvels, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is definitely going to be the high point of the last like year or two, I guess. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that I didn't like that. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, I think I liked it more in the moment, and it's just become more and more forgettable as we've got away from it. Thor: Love and Thunder, same sort of story. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I'd sort of put this, like, I don't know, it's probably like around the same score as this to me, but for different reasons, if you know what I mean. No Way Home was fine. Like, I don't love it as much as others. Eternals, obviously, we all know that movie's whatever. And then Shang-Chi, we actually like that one. So the last movie, I feel like the last movie that out of all that list, the only ones I can clearly say, like, yes, I actually like that movie, like, definitively, but above it was okay. Like, I liked that movie. I liked the Marvels. I really like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I liked Shang-Chi.
Yep.
Cool. You know, so I just don't know why. Yeah, it's a 7, whatever in my mind. Like, it's fine, but it's gonna. I'm preparing myself for the annoyance I'm gonna feel seeing this movie get shit on,
shreds,
and a lot of it's gonna be because it apparently is not the Infinity War, and I'm like, why would you? Yeah, anyway, I don't know.
Who's assuming it ever was going to be that?
I'm telling you right now, this movie is going to get just. It's going to get. I've already seen it start happening. Like for some reason, this movie is just. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I've also seen the opposite reaction, where obviously all the variety stuff has come out and like expectations were low, so people are pleasantly surprised by the film. So I think it's not. I think they're up. There's a silver lining to it as well.
I feel like there's something to be said for going to watch a Marvel movie also and just being like, you know what, the plot was pretty stupid. I got nothing out of that, but at least it was fun. It was a fun time at cinema.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Captain Marvel again. And I think there are sequences in this film that are cool. There are bits.
I think the fight sequences are probably actually some of the best choreography in the whole of the MCU.
I mean,
I think the planning, I think the planning that goes into that, switching between the cargoes and stuff, especially that first big sequence where they're switching between multiple locations, I think the planning for something like that may go unappreciated.
Yeah, because I found it a little bit jarring at first, but you have to appreciate the commitment to the. My thing is, I feel like they blew their load with that. That was far more impressive than anything else they do in the rest of the film.
Well, the ending,
but also it's
just so.
Oh, yeah.
Let me go have our big final sequence in a void of nothingness soundstage. Like I'm telling you, if there was reshoots for this movie, it's fucking.
That's where it was. They were trying to figure out how to do that.
So they could get to the after credit scene. Like, is the only reason. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But yeah. Breaking down the characters, Iman Vellani, Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, fantastic. We've got another cool, fun animated sequence that similar to the first episode of Ms. Marvel. So she was fantastic. I really love seeing her family back again. Even though obviously they're there mostly as comedic relief. It's just some of those sweet family moments are really nice because ultimately this is also a family movie, I guess, with the ties between Monica and Carol. But yeah, she was, if they haven't already made her the centerpiece of the MCU going forward, they surely should now at this point, because she is definitely I think definitively at this point the best new character they've introduced since Infinity War.
She's the most enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
I can understand how I could see another point being she doesn't really have much of an actual story like in the movie outside of it's just like her. I guess her story is her first like big adventure, like actual superhero shit. And to me, that's fine.
Meeting
like,
a hero. Yeah.
Like I don't need every single movie of every single superhero to have some major
life-altering,
like life-altering thing. Like, but I can see that probably being some complaints by people that she doesn't actually have a.
And that would be wrong.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Brie in this one. Obviously, we enjoyed her in Captain Marvel, but I feel like she was way more stoic than she was in this. They're definitely having a bit more fun, bouncing a little bit off her two co-stars.
Well, her character's changed because you got to remember, like Captain
you got to
Marvel,
remember, 30 years has happened in between.
Yeah, and like Captain Marvel, she's like for the majority of that movie, she's also like amnesia. She doesn't know where she is. She's crash landed on a separate. Like
this is the real first time we've seen.
Yeah,
this version of Carol Danvers.
Every time people talk about that movie, they're like, "Wow, she's so angry and stuff." I'm like, "Well, she's on a planet. She doesn't know where she is. She's very confused." Like, yeah, you'd probably be not making jokes, So it's a lot more fun to watch her in this movie. Just kicking back in casual clothes, getting out of a super outfit, just like that sequence where they're trying to practice like unifying their powers, like and like timing and juggling and stuff like that. That was really cool.
So the thing that throws me off is the body positions, because obviously they're doing the skipping rope.
Yeah.
And one person is jumping, but when they switch places, they're not jumping, they're standing.
I guess it's if you're jumping as well.
But they didn't jump,
No, I don't know.
Like,
whatever.
I don't want to get into the science of it.
Break the immersion.
But yeah, that was a thought that crossed my mind. But what did you think of the revelation that she destroyed the Curie and that's the reason she didn't come back to Earth?
It's a dumb reason.
Yeah.
It's a bit dumb, yeah.
It's like, oh, well, she came back during the blip. That was, which,
Yeah.
Makes sense because she got Nick's page.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of weird that she never checked in at any point before that. Also, it's weird that at no point she didn't go like, maybe I could just restart this on. You know, would that even things up?
It took a scientist to say that, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. Then Monica Rambeau, she was solid, enjoyable. I think she's a little bit overshadowed because the other two are kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum and kind of bigger draws.
Like Captain Marvel, Brie Larson's like sort of in neutral, like she's fun, a little bit more fun, but like serious at the same time. And then obviously Kamala Khan's like super joyful fun, like most of the movie.
Yeah.
She's definitely on the complete opposite of like she's serious for most of the time. Not to say that's a bad point, but it's like sort of how they balance out. I really enjoyed it though. I think she did like a really good job with her character. She's probably the most exposition giving person in the film. That helps, like,
absolutely. So many info
much.
dumps.
Yeah, all the info dumps come from her and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed her. I was worried at first, like coming in, like seeing how she would mix in this movie, especially. And I'm still intrigued to see how like the audience reaction for people who haven't watched WandaVision go for her and stuff like that.
Here's my question. How important are the 3 shows and movies?
Not important at all. I think this movie does a really, really good job in that first 20 minutes of just going, here's all the information you need. I feel like I can't say 100% because I've like sat someone down who hasn't watched those things and said, can you understand this? But I feel like you'd be okay.
I don't know. Yeah. The people behind me, one of them was like, well, they were talking before the movie, and like, oh, I've not been catching up on anything in the MCU. Part of me is like, what the hell are you doing here? But then also it's like, yeah.
Is it a thing of like, are people only going to question it? Like, if you start a normal movie or a sequel, imagine if this was just a sequel to Captain Marvel and the TV shows and stuff didn't exist and these characters just showed up. You wouldn't be questioning it. You'd just be going, well, the movie, you'll just trust that the movie would explain it to you. But because we live in a world where people know, oh, I haven't watched these shows, and then they're going to be going, well, is this actually a new character to this, or should I feel bad that I haven't watched things where these characters potentially could be from? You know?
Yeah. Well, my example is I never watched the first Terminator. I always watched Judgment Day through my childhood. And that movie doesn't matter if you watch the first movie or not. So
no, you would have no idea if you never looked at the title that it was actually a sequel. Even though they're talking about things from a previous film, as far as the movie is concerned, they're talking about an event that happened prior to that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just go back. You know, in a world where prequels are such a common thing now, it's like, you know, non-chronological storytelling is fine.
Yeah, I really don't think it's.
You can pick and choose what you watch. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll tell you what show I didn't remember while watching this, and that was Secret Invasion, because Samuel L. Jackson actually looked like he was having a good time in this. You know, I guess there is one slight tie-in to Secret Invasion, but that's about it. Like, during Secret Invasion, they mentioned like a bunch of rebel Skrulls went off to like founded on the colony under an emperor or something.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that comes up, I think. But yeah, Samuel L. Jackson, a lot of fun. Loved kind of everything on the sword station. Yeah. Especially her interacting with the parents. And then, of course, Goose laying eggs everywhere.
What a star.
So is it implied that Goose's eggs destroyed the space station? Understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
Or was it the power outage? I can't remember.
I think it was the blast from the thing that knocked him. Well, they show it quick. They show it for a couple seconds, like when the blast happens, it hits the sword. So I don't think the eggs helped, but yeah.
No. But yes, we get a bunch of Florkins all over the place, which help in one of the most bizarre escape sequences I've ever seen.
I remember seeing someone tweet, like someone from press, say that the movie went stupid at the end and turned them right off. And then when that sequence started, I was like, oh, this is the make or break moment. Because to me, this is great. But I can say, like...
No, that was the make or break moment. But yes, I could understand how you would think a bunch of cats eating up people so they can escape, put them in an escape pod and then regurgitate them back on Earth would be a breaking point for some people.
It's pretty funny.
But also bonus points for setting it to memory from cats. Just yeah, beautiful. Also, why I know why, but why didn't the parents get eaten? I feel like they could have been. Nick could have used some of the sword members in that spaceship instead of.
Well, they would have had to spit them out
family.
anyway, because I like how they're smart enough that when the ship starts like going out of contact, they just spit a couple people out to like rebalance it. So it's like,
oh yeah, the cat's super smart. Yeah. Also love the water world. I can't remember what the name is. And the whole lead up to that was Captain Marvel being super sus. The singing world.
Yeah.
Like she brings up the world and the random fact, like being super sus. And then the reveal that Captain Marvel is the new Disney princess.
I saw your tweet and I was like, this movie's not out in America yet. This tweet will not go down. Like, this is not going to do numbers yet. I'm sorry. Like, no one is going to get this reference at all.
I forgot it hasn't come out in the US, but we're all the Australian love. She is a Disney princess. She's a princess of this random planet for legal reasons or like that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's a very silly idea. Political reasons. Yeah. Very silly. Everybody's but they only speak in song. But thankfully the prince is bilingual.
Such an example to me though, like this sequence here is example of several things in this movie. When they start heading to this planet and they get down there and then all this stuff starts happening, I had a moment where I was going, why are we here? Like, I think my brain I don't know if I just zoned in and out for a second or whatever, but I was like, I cannot remember why we're at this planet. And I think it's just, I guess, but like, I can't remember why that exact planet. I think, but this is like one of the things of this movie. This movie just has beats, and they sort of just come up with reasons for characters to go do things.
Yeah, right. It feels like a movie that was more invested in hitting points, checking things off a list rather than telling a story.
It does, because I was like, because they get there, and I'm like, this is a fucking fantastic sequence. I'm enjoying this, but I'm pretty sure you wrote how we got here after you've like sort of filmed the sequence, Yeah. And then on the other half, it's also a thing of this sequence is so fun and funny and weird, really weird. It just feels so opposite to how a lot of the rest of the movie, in particular the final act, is. Where I'm like, well, how do you have such a weird sequence here and then switch gears to the ending the movie in such a boring way? Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just get to it. The conclusion of the movie. The big villain, Ben Dar, is trying to, steal the sun, opens a jump ship portal right there on the edge of the Earth's sun, and they all go fight her. But she accidentally opens the portal, a massive portal, to another universe, and the only way it can be closed is if Monica Rambeau goes inside after being charged up by the other two and closes it from the inside. It ends up trapped on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, when you describe it like that, it doesn't sound terrible. But in execution...
It was very boring. It was boring, bland, and completely void of anything that the rest of the movie had going for it. It was not a good action sequence. In fact, it really didn't feel like it was filmed by the same people as the other couple action sequences. It felt like it had no style to it, substance to it. It felt like a typical Marvel sort of action sequence. Also, weirdly, then you just got like 3 repeated shots of slow-mo jumps in the air. I was like, why are we doing the same thing like several times over?
I mean, to be fair, at that point, they should have been able to take her out pretty quickly.
You'd hope so, but yeah, just filming this entire thing on, it's just a green
empty
screen
space,
an empty spaceship sequence. I'm like,
no goons or anything.
Nothing. Yeah, just what a weird way to end this movie that up until this point had been rather colorful and much more vibrant than this. It, to me, and until someone tells me otherwise and can prove it, this is not the original ending of the movie. This is we need to get this thing to happen to this thing to get the character over into a different Earth to do an after credit sequence. We need to change the ending of the movie. That's how I'm taking this.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah.
That is definitely an element that was like reworked. But yeah, it's underwhelming.
Which sucks because it's Marvel consistently. The worst part of most Marvel projects continues to be when they have to get involved with the larger MCU. The second they step away, it's like instead of having a final act that could have a much more significant and emotional payoff to the villain, to the planet, to even these characters, like making like even another, like, you know, all these emotional highs and what, like any of that, forget about it, you know?
Yeah. The sooner these Marvel Spotlight things get started, the better. These disconnected stories, the better. Yeah.
Because I just feel like even a little bit more here at the end, if this movie had just like worried about its own shit before trying to tread woods over to the larger MCU, I don't want to say like it magically would have fixed the 80% that came before it, but having an end sequence that was better for that villain with a little bit more of an emotional moment between her and Carol and some like rewriting of how that all pays off, I would say it would have fixed all of it, but definitely would have made a huge difference.
Yeah. Also, she did not look great when she was powered up.
No,
I think that was probably the worst. Like a lot of it has been made about all the delays of the movie for visual effects and that kind of stuff. I thought across the board pretty solid. No worse than anything recently. Definitely not as bad as Quantumania, but yeah,
this
that did
better than Quantumania until the ending.
Yeah, that did not look great.
No.
So again, probably playing into your theory of this is how it was meant to end. Even though, you know, obviously you had that further, farther, faster line, which has been a bunch of trailers for a while, but yeah.
Whatever. That could have been the line from the original ending for all you know.
That's true. Yeah. So, you know, they end up on Earth, everybody's sad, you know. Carol restarts the halal sun. You know, and then she's moved into the Rambeau house until they come back.
That was a good moment, I feel, like at least. Like
it's weird that her family's there though.
I get
you couldn't get anybody else to help you.
Not really. I feel like it's just like I don't know. I took it as like they're all sort of just like it's just showing that Carol and Kamala are just like so close now, and Kamala's so close to her family that they sort of like it's if you get Kamala, you get her family. There's no yeah.
All right. Dylan, what was the most marvelous moment of the Marvels?
You sort of missed a part before you get to the end because I'm pretty the after credit scene did not include an appearance by Kate Bishop.
I'm getting to that.
Okay, right. I was about to say. I thought you was just okay. Never mind.
I think that is post credits.
Okay, sure. Pre-post credits. You mean the actual movie? That's right. Okay, my bad. I didn't know. I thought we talked about the movie and then the movie. I didn't realize we did the pre-post credits.
Come on.
Okay, my bad. Most marvelous moment. Yeah, I'm just gonna go the original fight sequence, the first one where they're all jumping around stuff. I was just like
that's what I was going with as well.
Because sitting there watching that, I'm going, oh baby, we back. For a while, for at least that sequence, I was going, this is some good shit.
You know, that, and then, you know, the way, just all the comedic bits on top of it, you know, all the actually good action, all the stuff with Kamala's family actually trying to get involved and then being threatened and that kind of stuff. I think,
just when the fight ends and they're just all of them like death staring Kamala as they're like sweeping up and stuff.
Yeah.
And then fucking Goose just eating random shit in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just perfectly put together. Also, I'll shout out I think it's a sequence right after where Kamala is falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And that, you know, Monica has to go try and save her using Monica has a completely new power set in this movie, but you know, we barely got a glimpse of her powers in the.
It's like her powers are evolving. She doesn't fully understand her powers.
Yeah, like she's fully intangible, going all foot kitty pride and stuff all the way through this and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, then falling down and then favorite favorite line is there.
Is it Nick Fury when he's
Khan and the Fury see somebody hit the ground. He goes, "Oh, it's Carol."
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's Carol. It's fine. Yeah. Well, Nick Fury has so many funny moments in this. Even though like before that, where he's like sitting on the thing, and then she says like sword stands for whatever. And Nick Jackson's face just a.
Nick Jackson.
Fucking hell, yeah, the Young Bucks are in this. Samuel Jackson's face of just when she's like says it all, he's like, that's classified.
Also, Kamala raises a very good point. Why are all those tablets clear?
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, she's like, why, if this is classified, why are the tablets clear? Very good point.
It's a secret. Okay. So the movie ends before the credits.
Yeah, crazy.
With Kamala meeting Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop, who's chilling out in an apartment. I don't know if it's her apartment that got burnt down, being refurbished, but she's with Pizza Dog, so that's good. Still in Hawkeye gear, so she's still got the Hawkeye moniker. And Kamala does a version of Nick Fury's talk to Tony Stark at the end of Iron Man,
and it was so good. I just love that Kamala, like, it's not Deadpool like breaking the third wall, but her being a super fan of the Avengers allows her, you can just imagine like, she read a book, she read a non-authorized autobiography about Nick Fury and how the Avengers perform, so she knows the lines. That's sort of how I played it off in my head. Like she knows what was said, sort of thing. And it works so well because it's not like Deadpool actually talking to the audience, but she just gets to like do that thing. And a few people in my cinema just started chuckling straight over it as soon as she just started riffing off the line, sitting in the seat and stuff like that. And I mean, just our first glimpses, those characters interacting, and the whole idea of this now building toward the young Avengers, and how much, when I think about what I've been loving in the MCU, the core factor, even if I'm like, the movie was bad or TV show bad, whatever, continue. But all the young characters, they just like, even if they're in bad things, they're just good in them, even if they're a shit movie or TV show. So that, I just hope that I hope they get their shit together, because like all of them have been so good so far that I just want them to actually have good stories to be in. Yeah.
And then we cut to the mid-credit scene, and Monica wakes up in a bed with Maria Rambeau looking at her. What? That's crazy. And then who comes in to check on her?
Hold on, pause, because I just want to say that her acting, what's her name? Latasha Lynch.
Lashana Lynch, yeah.
Lashana Lynch, like her dead face. As you've got and then what's the actor that plays Rambeau? Oh fuck, I can't remember her name now. But her dead. I don't know how.
No. Teyonah Parris. Yeah.
So her like heartbreaking mum compared to the deadpan of I don't know who the fuck you are. I was like, oh man.
In the flashback? Yeah.
No, just the sequence where at the end and after it's like those two looking at each other. I was just like, one's performing this heartbreaking, oh my god, I'm seeing my mum, and the other one's just doing, I have no idea who the hell you are. Like it's I thought it was good.
But guess who comes in to check on them? Beast, played by Kelsey Grammer from X3, with the X2 theme playing.
Why not?
And then you look up in the background, you see the X doors from the original trilogy of films. Crazy. And then Maria Rambeau stands up and she's got on a costume. It's like, who the hell are you?
Yeah, I don't know. In my
so the current going theory that I checked on Twitter because apparently the scene leaked before.
Right, of course. Somehow.
Of course. Also, the final trailer or teaser or whatever is a shot of her like from mid, like it's a mid shot.
Yeah, I remember I saw that. I watched the final trailer because I did a news story for it, so I actually watched the trailer. I remember thinking like, oh, that's obviously some cameo or whatever, but I never caught on to.
I mean, heaps of people are thinking it was Storm, but it's Monica Rambeau in. It seems to be an alternate universe.
Wait, I see. You've added a note.
I added a note. Captain Marvel in the form Binary, which is a version of Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers from back in the 80s, who has recently been brought into the comics as a clone, energy formed clone of Captain Carol Danvers. Is very confusing.
That sounds very confusing. Yes. What's that have to do?
But it's just we'll just say it's an alternate universe Captain Marvel. I think probably just to distinguish this Captain Marvel from the one that got destroyed in Multiverse of Madness.
Now, I put in. Would you agree with the way I said it in the original thing, where it's like I googled like, was there an Earth assigned, and apparently there was an Earth assigned to the original X-Men Fox universe of 10,005. So apparently that was up for the original Fox run of X-Men movies, and then the ones after Days of Future Past, they said they never actually assigned what universe they were from. So I'm assuming that this is just that universe if it's Kelsey Grammer X3. That's sort of how that works. So then the big question is, and I don't mind this because I think I guess it works, is you get one last hurrah of whoever wants to come get a paycheck from
the Fox movies.
So whoever wants to turn up to do like one scene or maybe a couple scenes, whatever, for whatever movie or program they choose to do. Maybe it's the Secret Invasion movie or whatever. Secret Wars movie. Sorry, Secret Wars movie. When they decide to do all that, you might get some of the original cast, maybe Stewart and McKellen and whatever.
If they're, well enough.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like any of those people who wants to turn up and get a final paycheck, I feel like that makes sense. Like
I don't know if I'd use them as the ones going, oh, I want a final paycheck, but yes.
No, yeah, I know. But
more
you know
like
what I mean? Like
Anna Paquin, Sean Ashmore.
Yeah.
The guy who played Toad.
Yeah. I sort of like it though that they're returning to the OG Fox universe. Because presumably, the Secret Wars event ends with like the comic where it's like this universe is combined into a new universe, and it's a sort of a reset, which will work because then they get to have their own X-Men with potentially some other characters and whatever else. So, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. Again, this was the thing that I think saw got spoiled or was rumored around the last few days before the movie's released that Beast was going to be in the movie, which seems a weird choice for any X-Men character, but
I feel like it's like a highly recognizable X-Men character while also not such blowing your load too early. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's obscure enough, I guess.
Well, people go, that's an X-Men character.
Yeah.
People go, that's the Beast guy. He's in all the movies. But it's
not
not
the ones that
it's not the ones that they would pay to go see movie tickets to watch Beast, though,
No. But yeah, it's interesting at the very least, and I'm sure, it got people's tongues wagging, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I want to tell you two things. This shit starts happening. Beast shows up on screen. Dude, a couple rows behind me, yells out, I hear, oh my God, they're doing it. Right? So this is this dude's reaction. Now, not to skip ahead too far, but then we sit through the rest of the credits and we find out there's not a second after credit sequence. And
there's a flirking sound.
Yeah, cool. Don't care. Doesn't
Did you
care.
get enough of them in the movie?
This same dude, after getting super excited over Beast, I then hear like it goes silent after it fades out to black and then the lights come on. I just hear loudly, bastards! And then I think I couldn't see him because it was a few rows away. I assume he was then apologizing to someone that must have been around him, because then all I hear is, I'm sorry, but I mind my language, but it's a Marvel movie and they didn't have an after credits scene. And I'm thinking, well, they just did, mate. You just watched it. Like, what are you talking about?
No, even if they were to have another scene at the end, it would have been like a joke scene,
Yeah, it's usually like the 2
like
second
a punchline,
bit,
it would have been Kamala, like them trying to fix the house again or something,
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't have been like a serious thing. Does this make you question how important Deadpool 3 is?
No,
like, is this going to be
never going to be important?
Like, but is it going to tie into everything now?
No.
Okay.
It'll have jokes about this. I will be shocked if that doesn't.
Beast? Really?
Yeah, something.
You'd
like
only
that,
fought Beast?
Like all of that, but will Deadpool 3 have a larger impact and play into the storyline? No. Cool. The main reason is because they're making that movie MA, right? Yeah, the kids can't watch it.
Who cares? Fuck them kids. Any other final thoughts on the Marvels?
Well, fuck Beast, because he's actually the reason I feel like this movie is worse than it needed to be, because they had to tie in the fucking after credit sequence.
You don't think she would have been sent to another universe if it...
No.
She would have just survived. They move into the house together.
I don't know. I feel like the ending was completely different. I feel like they've just changed everything.
Interesting. All right, let us know what you thought of the Marvels. What's your theory on what happened to the end of the movie? And what do you think is the plan going leading up to Secret Wars? Let us know by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Anyone can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about this, the #1 Australian-made Marvel podcast on the internet. And if you enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. So I guess we'll be back here tomorrow, or in a few days, for the season finale of Loki. You looking forward to that?
No.
Alright, well, watch that and join us next time for another All New Marvelcast.